Here's Mike Tomlin from after last night's game regarding his future.
I'm not even in that mindset as I sit here tonight. I'm more in the mindset of what transpired in this stadium and, certainly what we did and didn't do. Not a big picture mentality as I sit here tonight.
That's a very different vibe than the last time there was sense that maybe Tomlin was done in Pittsburgh and looking to move on. That came up at a press conference, and he just walked off. He didn't say a word. He just walked off. He answered the question last night, and he answered it in a way that, and who knows? Who knows what will happen? I remember that year that he did the walk-off. The vibe was, and the reporting was, that he would meet with his family and make a decision about whether he'd continue to coach the Steelers. And he decided very quickly, and I think it was 2 years ago, decided very quickly he was back and he was all in and he was rejuvenated. To answer the question the way he did, it sounds like there's going to be something to discuss. It sounds like there's going to be something to talk about. And maybe he will decide to come back. Maybe he can't envision a life of not doing what he's doing. I mean, shit, I've been doing this, London, 24 years operating PFT. And there are times where, especially, you get toward the end of a long season, you're traveling during the holidays, you're away from your family. There are times where I'm like, why the hell am I don't need to do this anymore. I got enough. I'm just being very authentic and real with you. I got the money. I don't need to do this. I could stop this today. I don't need this shit, right? I have days like that. And it's like, what else would I do? Like that's the thing. That's what we all have to think about. Those of us who don't have a real job have to think about what we would do if we stopped doing it. Like, what would I do? And I would still be paying attention to the NFL and not getting paid for it. And then I'd be like, I don't have a way to chime in on this. Like, I want to chime in on this. So, that's what Mike Tomlin needs to confront. Like, if he's going to go to TV and there's a belief he's got an offer in his back pocket, or his agent has an offer in his back pocket and just hasn't shared it with Tomlin yet, but there's a belief he's got that path. And that's what Mike Tomlin has to ask himself, like, do you really want to remove yourself from the thing that you've done? And he said last week, I've been part of a team since 2000 or something like that, like some ridiculous number of years, maybe longer than that. Do you really want to remove yourself from the thing that you do and still be around it, but not be doing it the way you've always done it? I think that would torment Mike Tomlin. So, I think that part of dealing with the strain and the stress of a demanding job, not that this one's demanding, but his is, you have to entertain the idea of walking away from it from time to time, just so you appreciate it, and you put yourself in a position where you ask yourself, what the hell else would I do with my days? What would I do? And I think Mike Tomlin needs to ask himself that. What is your life going to look like if all of a sudden you're not doing the thing that you've done consistently for 2 decades in Pittsburgh? So I think he's not walking away. I'll be stunned if he does walk away. And if he does walk away, there's got to be some other stuff going on that pushes him there. And I don't know. I'm just saying the Steelers, they're not dysfunctional at all. But I don't know. Maybe he senses Art Rooney would like to do it, but he just can't bring himself to doing it. I don't know. I'll be surprised, because he's going to have those thoughts as he gets away from football for a little while here, for a couple of days, for even just a couple of hours. I think he's going to come to the conclusion pretty quickly he can't envision a life where he's not doing what he's doing. And that's the conclusion I always come to when I get through one of those moments where it's like, why do I keep doing this? It's like, because it's what I do, and what else would I do?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you just said that, because I just pulled up Mike Tomlin. He graduated from William & Mary in 94, and he was a wide receiver coach at VMI in 95. So if you think about college, you think about high school, and you just even take away youth sports, like just high school, the late 80s, he's been on a team all the way till now because of his playing and coaching career. And I do agree with you. I think about what we do weekly when we're around the game and we're sitting in there, and you just said, there's times you want to chime in. I'm sure the difference from all of us. Like, there's times within games where I'm like, man, I wish I was still playing so I could break on that ball. And like, the reality is there's nothing in this world that I could do to be closer to being able to do that. Like, I can't do that anymore. But I can't imagine, like, for JG, Jason Garrett sitting in there and all of these things happen. Like, you can still place yourself back in the position to go coach a game. And I think for Mike Tomlin, I think that feeling would be real. If he went in TV next year, as fun as it would be to be able to chime in and react to situations or talk about what you would do, I think for coaches, I think you still get that feeling of, man, like, I wish I was leading that team, or like, I wish, like, you can easily place yourself back in that moment. But maybe for Mike Tomlin, it's a break. I think about Sean Payton when, you know, he walked away from New Orleans and he went on TV and he got to do that for a little while. And I'm sure it made him want to coach more and be able to do that. But then to have some insight of being in different buildings and talking to different people and getting away from it for, you know, a year or 2 years, you get to say, okay, I now know what I want to do differently. I want to approach this and do this differently and do this now. And I think for Mike Tomlin, maybe that's a thing. Maybe trying something else for a year makes him realize that. And I know networks get a little skeptical because when you replace one coach, it's not always easy to get another coach on your broadcast. But I tend to agree with you. I think for Mike Tomlin, once you step away, and I think that's the reality. When you walk off like he did 2 years ago, there's no doubt in your mind, even with the pain and the letdown of what you just experienced, you already know you're excited to get back at it tomorrow. Like, you already have a plan. I think now when you answer that way, it's I need some time. And in this moment, I don't want to reflect on the year, my career, because I think he's saying, I want to give these guys the respect of what they just did this year. I want to talk about this year, the guys in this locker room, how they competed, whatever happened. I don't want this to be about me and my future, but it sends a signal of my future needs some deeper thought. I need to take time with my family and those decision makers that help me, and then decide what I want to do next. And there'll be a time to do that. But I think by him saying that, it lets us know that he is going to put some thought into whatever is next, whether Pittsburgh, some other place coaching, or possibly in TV. That's real emotions when you lose a game. Because I tell you, when you're in the playoffs, and I don't care what the outlook is and this team's better, and, you know, you envision working next week. Like, it's impossible not to plan to win and to be back next week. So when it all ends, it's like we used to say it in New England all the time. It's like a plane crash. It's like, how do we get here? How do we pick up the piece? Like, it is devastating when you lose in the playoffs, because like the finality of that is just like you don't expect it to be the final game of the season, and then it happens and you got to react instantly.
You know, they call me Dr. Doom, and you're the one that says losing a playoff game is like a plane crash. They needed to have the Dr. Doom mask ready to put up over you. As you were saying that, good Lord, that was dark. But it's sudden, and the longer that you last in the postseason, the more it hurts when you finally lose. I remember hearing Steve Young say that years ago. Even though you get the exhilaration of winning a playoff game, you set yourself up for a 50-50 shot, in theory, of experiencing even worse heartbreak the following week. And it continues as you get higher and higher up the ladder. I think one other factor we need to consider with Mike Tomlin, it was 44 days ago that he heard something that nobody had ever heard before, the chance of fire Tomlin in his own stadium. And you'll wonder how someone reacts to that and all the chatter that happened that week. Does it strengthen your resolve, or does it get you to say, hey, man, screw these people, I'm out of here. If they're not going to appreciate me, I'm out of here. If I'm going to have to deal with this, if my family's going to have to hear this stuff, I'm out of here. I'll go somewhere else. I'll work in TV for a year, and then I'll go be a coach in 2027. Of course, that team would owe the Steelers some sort of compensation because Mike Tomlin is still under contract for one more year. That would toll, and we would see how it would play out. And remember, Sean Payton wasn't going to be in TV. Sean Payton was going to Miami to coach the new Pizza Hut spokesperson, and that all got blown up, and a tampering punishment ultimately hit the fan in Miami because they were trying to work the back channels to get Tom Brady and Sean Payton there together. So maybe there's already another job that Mike Tomlin has in mind. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the curtain that we're not aware of. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.